Alright, so for week 2 of spring anime, it's kind of an uneventful week so far. We're still in the early games, so more characters being introduced, some light story points happening, but still kind of a little bit uneventful. So yeah, let's get into it. Alright, so for Fumetsu no Anatae, episode 1, also known as To Your Eternity. Well, this anime is big sad. They had kind of a unique idea starting out, and I was all for it in this episode. I kind of didn't know what to expect, but as I saw the episode unfold, I'm like, oh yeah, that's gonna happen, and it's gonna be pretty powerful. So yeah, probably the strongest emotional episode we had this week. And yeah, this is how it starts. Pretty unique idea where it starts off with a god, and he makes a magical rock just appear on the earth. And this rock can like transform itself depending on what it's touching. So it's an immortal rock that changes its shape. And then one day, this dying wolf just comes across the rock, and it dies while touching the rock. So the rock transforms into that dead wolf. And now we kind of have our first character introduction. This wolf in some unknown snowy land. Could be somewhere like Russia or like Northern Europe. But yeah, just like a mysterious setting that they're throwing us into with this transforming rock that is now a wolf. So when the rock is transformed for the first time, it kind of has to learn like a baby, so it doesn't really know how to walk or eat food, so it has to kind of learn as it goes. And then it comes across a village in the snow where it finds a young man, and apparently that dude is the owner of the wolf. So then the wolf joins forces with that boy, and then like they kind of live together. We kind of see the motivations of the boy, and then the kind of world opening up, like why he's living here. So it kind of just started off with him being like pretty adventurous, but he had to kind of maintain the village. There are a lot of like people living here that kind of traveled outward to find new lands because they're kind of stuck in like a snowy area. So, you know, there might be more to explore. So his daily life is kind of shown. He catches fish to eat. He watches out for people coming back from exploring, and he draws like people on the wall. Since he's the only one in the village, and we see why, because all the old people died off. So when everyone left the village to explore, it was him and all the old people. And now like they've been gone so long, like I think 5 years he said, that like everyone just started dying off. So then the boy is like, alright, this is the perfect time to go exploring. So he gets all geared up, ready to explore the world. And you know, it feels pretty good so far. I'm rooting for him to kind of like find a place, because like his life is pretty boring here. Maybe he's gonna become a new adventurer. And then him and his dog, it's like them versus the world right here. So after gearing up, they begin their journey. Pretty typical, walking through snow and ice, trying to find new lands. It's pretty cold, but then there's like markings that were placed by like the other people that kind of shows like where to go for the next path. So everything's looking good so far. But then our boy gets injured. He cuts up his leg a little bit by falling on the ice. And he's also kind of cold by falling in the icy water. So, you know, it's not looking too good for him. He still powers through, but we can see that, oh, this adventure is not that easy. Like, the first few days, they still have a lot of supplies and food left, but, you know, it's, like, taking a toll on their bodies. So then they find a house to shack up in, and then this is the situation. So his leg is kind of cut. So then the next day, they reach a dead end. It was a rock that showed the direction, but it was slashed out, because it's like, there's nothing more here, don't go ahead. So that's where all of his other village people, their journey ended. I guess their wagons and carts just like got wrecked over here, trying to climb up this mountain. And yeah, it's like there's nowhere else to go. All those 5 years he was waiting for more people to come back, it was all for nothing, because they straight up died over here. So then yeah, it's very bleak. He starts crying a bit, but then like he's a bit strong, like he doesn't really try to show his emotions. So then he bears it, and then they just turn back because yeah, this adventure is not going too well. We also see that his leg isn't healing too much, so it's probably infected, and then that's causing him to be weak, as well as like all the coldness. So when he goes back home, just like limping and stumbling, we can see that this is like his last moments. He's about to die. So our main character, he was like this adventurous boy, pretty fun, normal dude, and then like he had a goal. It wasn't so easy because you experience the world, you get some injuries, and it's like pretty much over for you. His entire village has died out. He drew faces of all like his ancestors, just so if someone comes to see the village, then their memory will not be forgotten. And then he dies in front of his pet wolf. So this is kind of the major story beat of this entire series, where the immortal shape-shifting object, it can change shape depending on a strong stimulus. So this is a strong stimulus. Your owner, this dude that had like big aspirations, just died in front of you. Yeah, so he transforms into a wolf, into that white-haired boy. And then I guess this is where the anime is gonna go, where our immortal shape-shifting object is now a human and can now experience the world. Nobody really knows what type of environment or characters we're gonna see going forward, so this first episode was just to set up like a bunch of sad moments. Alright, so for 86 episode 2, more stories being formed as Lena kind of interacts with the 86ers. So we see Shin from the 86ers is kind of talking about how he kind of recycles the armor from his comrades' dead drones, and he like adds it onto his for repairs. And then one of the dudes asks, "Hey, isn't that kind of creepy using the dead people's armor?" But then he's like, "Nah, I'm the Reaper." And then he also like collects their tags, his fallen comrades, and he has like this huge basket of tags, like a giant chest filled with like a million tags. So this dude Shin, the Undertaker, he lives up to his name. He sees a lot of his friends die, as he just like puts himself in the front lines, continuing to fight for the army. That's all he can do. After that, we get a pretty important history lesson given to us by Lena. So she just crashes a lecture hall filled with new recruits. Since she's like a high-ranking official, they all respect her. And then the teacher of the lecture, he was saying how, so we were fighting the Legion's army since 2139. So that was 9 years ago. And then the drones they're fighting, the Legion, they're made up of the army of Gear. So it's basically implied that this country of Gear, they kind of self-destructed. And then this Legion army, these drones are just like attacking all over, just going all crazy. The thing is that these drones have a 6-year lifespan. So that's pretty important, because it's implied that the fall of Gear started 9 years ago. So if we do some quick maths right here, since the Gear country fell 9 years ago, and then they started fighting Sand Magnolia 3 years ago, and they have a 6-year lifespan, then after 3 more years, the drones are just gonna die, they're gonna lose power, and there's like not gonna be any more drones created. So that's what they mean when they say, oh, the war is gonna be over in 3 years. And then since it's only drones fighting, it said that, oh, we don't use humans either, so it's drones versus drones, and that's how we run the war with no casualties. And then that's where Lena chimes in. She's like, okay, that's kind of fake news right there, because there are people operating the drones, and they're from the 86th region. They decided that all the silver hair and silver-eyed people, you're in one of the 1 to 85 regions. But if you don't have those characteristics, then all your rights are stripped away, and you're forced to join the army in Region 86. And yeah, that's where the 86ers come from. They're forced to enlist in the army to fight inside of these drones to fight the Legion. And it's like a 6-year war coming on. So yeah, huge racism plot here. Like, they're not hiding it. And I was actually surprised that Lena actually knows all the history about it. So I thought being an 86er, that was like kind of like a big secret that they're hiding. But no, a lot of people know about it. And then yeah, Lena's just telling their new recruits about it. So yeah, I really appreciated that plot dump. It's pretty sad, but gives a lot of good context to this war. So then after this whole history lecture is completed, we go do a mission as Lena tries to help all the 86ers. So they start fighting. The Legion over here kind of have a special ability where they can block all the radars, so it's hard to see. So then Shin kind of goes ham, just tries to solo all the big heavy cannons. It's very similar to Attack on Titan. All these dudes from the 86th region trying to find a way to fight these big tanks. We see Lena's like very positive in communicating with them, which is pretty much a first for them because everyone treats them like pigs. So yeah, that feels good. Everything is happy so far as we complete our first mission, but in the future stuff probably won't go as easy. And then Lena does another nightly check-in with them, which is pretty cool because she's checking in every night for a whole week now. It's like Lena's very committed to like making sure everything goes well, they communicate well, and they fight so like no one dies. Alright, so for Tokyo Revengers episodes 1 to 2. This is a pretty fun, interesting kind of anime. It talks about gang violence and trying to better yourself, so I'm kind of down with that. It does feel a bit generic though, like I'm not attached to a lot of these characters, but the overall story is not bad at all. So it talks about a guy, Takamichi. He's an adult and his whole life went kind of downhill. Like he has a shitty job, shitty boss, his girlfriend died. And then one day when he's waiting on the train, someone pushes him off the tracks and it looks like he's about to die. And then he teleports back 12 years ago. So it looks like kind of a memory of his past. So he's living his life, his hair is dyed blonde, and he's like a delinquent. Kind of like a fake tough guy. Him and his like squad of delinquents. But then they actually get in trouble when they come across a real gang. The Manji gang. So it's like a middle school gang so far, but they're just like huge tough dudes. They got baseball bats and fists. They like swindle money, they gamble. They beat you up. So yeah, basically huge bullies that have like a big following. So then he's beaten up and forced to be a slave to the Manji gang, him and his group of delinquents. So yeah, that's where his life kind of spiraled out of control. So he goes to meet his girlfriend Tachibana, since she died in the present time, but she's still alive in this 12-year past. He can't really talk to her about everything, but we see that our main guy Takamichi, he's like a very sensitive dude, so he doesn't really fit in. And yeah, that's where like his life just kept spiraling down. He didn't know what to do. He ran away. So then yeah, he wants to save Tachibana's life from dying because she died to gang violence. Just like they were fighting outside on the streets, and then like they kind of rammed a truck into this festival, and then yeah, she died there. So then Takamichi meets another Tachibana, and then he's the little brother of his girlfriend. So then Takamichi tells Tachibana, hey, your sister's gonna die in 12 years from now. So I need you to stop this. So he gives him the date, and I guess he's trying to change the present time by like, manipulating the past. And then yeah, they shake hands, and then he wakes up. So this is 12 years in the future now. He fell on the train tracks, but he didn't die. And then the dude Tachibana that he talked to in the past, he turned into a police detective just to save Tachibana. But then it's revealed that he's been working so hard on this, and she still died. So then he's depending on Takamichi to do something to save the sister. So that's where the story is going so far. We have to save Takamichi's girlfriend, Tachibana. She's a pretty cool girl, tough, funny, but, she's destined to die, so, like, the plot is revolving around saving her. And this is kind of interesting, because we get Takamichi's power, where when he shakes hands with the brother, he goes back in time 12 years. And he can't control the day is the current day. So then that's where the story is going. Him just going back in time, I guess slowly, try to better himself, and then stop the Manji gang from being formed. So he's pretty weak in his 12-year-old past, but he's trying to be brave. He's getting beaten by baseball bats, trying to ask about the Manji gang. And then episode 2 ends with him in this fight club, and he challenges one of the head guys. He's like the toughest dude there. It's like big, strong middle school dude. I don't know what they're feeding these guys, but yeah, good luck, Takamichi. I guess it's kind of exploring themes of like discovering yourself, not running away from your past, and I guess like bettering yourself as a person. And the characters are pretty cool so far. The gang violence is pretty brutal, so don't fuck with those Japanese gangs. So only time will tell how this anime will progress. But I guess the story of a dude trying to go back in the past to change himself, that's like, pretty relatable. Okay, so for Joran, The Princess of Snow and Blood, episode 3. So pretty spicy episode, as there's kind of a theme, huge cliffhangers, and a lot of tension being built up episode by episode. So yeah, it's pretty exciting to watch because it's like, damn, so many people are dying. So we kind of visit 2 sections of the show. One where Yuki's hanging out with her little sister Asahi, and then one where she's in her mission with her 3 assassin group. She finds out that Asahi tried to poison her, but then Yuki's too smart for that. And then Yuki realizes that it's not going to work out, Asahi. Like, it's not right me taking you in. I don't even know why I did that. I don't know why I felt emotion there. I used to suppress my emotions for revenge. But yeah, she took in Asahi. They had a great big sister, little sister thing going on where, Asahi tries killing her, but then she also feels emotions for Yuki. And then Yuki tells her, "No, we can't do this. And then the next time you try to kill me, you better mean it, because I'm going to fight back." And then she also says, "You can't kill me before I get my own revenge." So all that's being set up, and then she tells Asahi, "I'm going to leave, and when I come back, you better not be here." So she gives Asahi an address for a place she can go. But it's pretty sad seeing these 2 girls, they kind of had a thing where, they started to depend on each other. So she sadly kicks her out. After that, Yuki goes on a mission with Makoto and Elena. Here, they're targeting an Undertaker that's working for Janome, who is the person who killed all of Yuki's family in her village. The thing is, he had a bomb in his hat, and then he detonates it. Everyone gets knocked out around him, and he runs away. So then Yuki and Elena try to chase after him under the catacombs. But then Makoto, the 3rd assassin, he realizes that he's hiding in this coffin. So he opens it, he asks him some questions, and then kills him. So yeah, Makoto had some suspicious motives. He gets grilled a little bit by Jin, the leader of Nue, and then Jin kind of slashes his shirt, and then we realize that Makoto is a girl. So all 3 of these assassins, Yuki, Elena, and Makoto, they're all women. Apparently Makoto was disguised as a boy for some reason. It'll probably be explained, but yeah, sudden reverse trap reveal over here. After that, it's revealed that Asahi was kidnapped. She was going around the village, and then Janome kidnapped her. It was pretty curious in the end because Elena was taking care of this little kid, and then Janome was taking care of this little kid. We also learn a bit about Janome, where he does human experiments. So his body is kind of like an Orochimaru type of body, where he can kind of transform his face, and then he has a bunch of like hidden power in his blood. So they're kind of escalating her revenge on Janome pretty quickly. Since like if she gets revenge next episode in episode 4, then you know what's gonna happen after that. There's a lot of stuff happening. Makoto also seems kind of evil, but then I'm down for that big reveal where all 3 assassins are hot women. Okay, so for Vivy, Fluorite Eyes Song, episode 4. Another great episode as we wrap up the space hotel arc with Estelle. So Vivy gets attacked by this evil Estelle, and then she realizes that, oh, it's her that's crashing the space hotel. And they're kind of doing it a day early, so Matsumoto's information, it's a little changed now. But then, yeah, this evil Estelle is pretty strong. She kicks Vivi's arm, and then, yeah, it gets kind of injured. But then, yeah, they run away from her. She's also with Momoko, who's the little sister of that girl that Vivy was friends with, Yuzuka. So, yeah, she's a bit older now, and I think she has Chika's voice actress, so, yeah, Momoko's out here trying to meet with Vivy, and, like, I guess talk more about her sister. And then they plan to collapse into the ocean to reduce casualties. The thing is, they're crashing into an ocean city, so there's going to be a ton of casualties, actually. So then Vivy meets the real Estelle, and then she realizes that the fake Estelle is Estelle's twin sister. So then Estelle talks about her backstory here. When she was created, she was made with another twin sister that was supposed to be activated 6 months after her. And it's part of an experiment where they try to replicate an AI, where if they kind of copy that AI's experiences and transfer it over to like a new AI that's not been activated, they want to see if they can make an exact copy. The thing is, the experiment kind of failed, so they gave up on it, and then they trashed Elizabeth, who's Estelle's sister, and then she was rescued by the terrorists. So that's why Elizabeth is evil, because she's following her goal, which is to listen to her master. So, you know, Vivy wants to save humanity, while Elizabeth realizes that humanity is her one master that saved her. So yeah, she'll listen to him, and that's why she's crashing the ship. So Vivy downloads the combat program on her and fights with Estelle. It's a pretty sick fight, just hand-to-hand android combat. But then they get the upper hand on Estelle. We see her voice is kind of distorted as she's like kind of getting weaker. And then yeah, they beat her. But the thing is, it's kind of too late to stop the space hotel from crashing. So all the people are in the escape pods as of now, so that's fine. But then the thing is, they're going to crash into an ocean city. But then Estelle stays with the control panel to kind of break up the space hotel in smaller pieces. So then if that happens, there's less like debris that are going to fall into the earth. So then a sad farewell happens as Vivy and the little sister Yuzuka, they go escape on the space pod. And then after that, her sister Elizabeth comes back. So then she helps Estelle in the space hotel control panel. So that's kind of an emotional moment, seeing the sisters make up and sing together. And then yeah, we solved another point in the timeline where the space hotel did crash, but we saved all these people from dying. And we also meet Yuzuka, who's Momoko's sister. The space hotel arc kind of ended pretty abruptly, where we had like a random villain who was Estelle's sister. But I mean, I'm digging the theme where it's like, you know, don't get too attached to all these new characters because all these AIs are dying. On to the next one. Okay, so for My Hero Academia, Season 5, Episode 4. So the tournament arc continues. This was a Class A victory, where we see kind of Asui. She just hard carries the whole team. Even though it's a team effort, it's like, damn, you can see how Froppy gets so much favoritism. She's so strong, powerful, versatile, athletic. So it's now with 3 versus 3. The Sasquatch dude has a like enhanced sense of like smell, so he can tell where everyone is at any moment. So they try to help Shinso since he's not really that combat experienced. And they make him like stay in the back, use his voice powers at a safe range. And then we see his persona chords, he can also imitate people's voices. So that's like a pretty big update in his power. It used to be that he asks a question to you, and if you respond, then you get mind controlled. But if he changes his voice, then it's like you don't even know who to trust anymore. So then Kaminari goes in, he gets captured, but then he's just a distraction. Asui goes and captures the scale dude, while the Sasquatch guy goes and finds Shinso. Shinso tries to attack him with the tape, tries to like give him blunt force trauma by throwing a pipe in his head. But no, he's a big-ass Sasquatch. That's not going to stop him. But then he uses his persona chords to try to distract him. The Sasquatch knows his gimmick, so he doesn't answer his questions. But then that makes it so he ignores everything around him. So Asui eats the scale guy's body into the Sasquatch. And then, yeah, they did it. Class A captured all the people. So, yeah, I guess Shinso's power is still showcased. It's kind of an uneventful fight so far. I guess it's the first fight of the tournament, so, there's going to be more to come. I just thought it was really funny seeing the Froppy favoritism. Pretty funny to see her hard carry the team into a victory. But yeah, it's still a team effort, so Kaminari and Shinso did their thing. And I'm excited to see more people showcase their power as we're still in this tournament arc as of now. Okay, so for Dynazenon episode 3, pretty neat episode. We get some story reveals. And also Minami getting closer to Yomogi. So they're both together. They go to some school where they get info about her dead sister. Because her sister invited Minami to this recital. And then she died the day of. So then Minami wants to know more about it. So she gets info that there was some person that might know her sister. So yeah, more stories being developed for Minami. And also Gaoma is being developed as well. And then Yomogi actually got close to become one of the Kaiju eugenicists. His name is Juga. And he tells Yomogi about his origins, how him, everyone, and they got betrayed by Gaoma. And they're 5,000-year-old people that were kind of resurrected in the present time. And were kind of born with this power to control kaijus 5,000 years ago. And then Gaoma kind of betrayed them for some reason. And now they're kind of resurrected in the present time, fighting their fight again. Also, we see Koyomi, the homeless dude. He bumps into a girl that he met in middle school. But then she's married, but then they exchange contact info. But Koyomi's kind of let down. It's like, oh, I kind of liked her. So yeah, they're developing the side story for most of these characters. But then the big thing here is they try fighting a new kaiju. I really like when they play the OP when the kaiju fights. I wonder if it'll get old in the future, but so far it's hitting pretty well. So then they force Goma to kind of reveal his story, where he wants to meet the person who gave him his Dynazenon power. So that's why he left the kaiju eugenesis. He has his own goal to try to meet the person who gave him his power. And then he thinks the reason he's resurrected here, he has a chance to meet them in the present time. So yeah, it's nice to hear more of Gaoma's story since he's a pretty cool character. Also, this kaiju fight was pretty insane because they go up into the atmosphere. So yeah, pretty hype episode where we got a bunch of cool story points for every character. Okay, so for I Killed Slimes for 300 years and maxed out my level, episode 2. I'm really liking this isekai. It's surprisingly nice. Like, the slice of life is cool, the characters are fun, and the story points are pretty funny. So I guess this is my go-to isekai slice of life for this season. We start off with Laika living with Azusa. She's basically a dragon maid now, as she makes breakfast. She cooks this huge omelet. They all eat it together. And it's so funny and wholesome seeing these girls come together. They're like, oh, I can't eat this huge omelet, and Laika's so sad, oh, I let you down. So then she helps Azusa make a DIY barrier, where you make a magical seal, and then you just imbue your magic there. This giant barrier is created throughout the city, and basically any kind of evil people or thieves, they're just knocked out if they enter the village. So yeah, village defenses are going well, as we get some new characters. So it's Azusa's daughter. This blue-haired short girl comes in, she knocks on the door, and then she's like, hey mama. And Azusa's like, nah, I am not the mother. So yeah, it's pretty funny because this girl Falfa insists that Azusa is the mother. Azusa created her. So then Falfa is sad because she said her little sister Shalsa wants to kill her mother Azusa. So yeah, Azusa has 2 children now, these little girls. One has blue hair and one has green hair. So it's kind of random, but then it's revealed why these 2 kids claim that Azusa is their mother. Because they're slime spirits. So Azusa killed all these slimes. They're the spirits of the slimes that she murdered. And then Shalsa wants to kill her for revenge, since Azusa's been murdering slimes every day. So Shalsa's been training her magic to kind of work on this spell called Smite Evil. And then it works by negating all magic. So if you smite evil, the name of your target, then they can't do any magic basically. So then Shalsa is wrecking Azusa a lot. She tries to do some magic, and Shalsa just deflects it. So Azusa's getting hurt a little bit. But then Laika comes in to protect her, and then Laika punches Shalsa. And then Shalsa blocks it, but then it hurts her a lot. And then her magic is gone now. And it's revealed that Shalsa spent all her magic, her Smite Evil, to target Azusa. So she's very weak against any other person. So we found the one counter to the strongest person in the world, but then she only has a limited supply of magic. So then these slimes come in together and make up with Azusa. Azusa is like to her, hey, if you wanted to kill me, you can, but then if I die, you have no purpose anymore. So then yeah, they kind of use that psychology to have everyone become friends, and we have 2 new characters, Shalsa and Falfa, some blue-haired and green-haired little girl slime spirits. But even though they're little, they're 50 years old actually. There was an interesting point where they're like, oh, I don't want to eat the celery is trash. And I'm like, I agree with you, I hate celery. But the thing is, why are you making celery then? Why are you making the celery soup if you hate it? So yeah, I thought that was funny. But then anyway, we have a 4-people team now. It's pretty strong because we have Azusa, the strongest person in the world, like a really strong dragon, and Falfa and Shalsa, who are like pretty strong, wise slime spirits. Okay, and now to end it off with Ijiranaide Nagatoro-san, episode 2. So this episode's kind of split up into like 3-4 different shorts. So yeah, a lot more comedy bits as Nagatoro and the main dude are kind of getting closer together, I guess. So it first starts off with some hula hoops, where Nagatoro goes in the art room, crashes it, and tells the dude to join her in the hula hoop. He tries ducking and joining, but then he can see up her skirt, and yeah, Nagatoro gets all embarrassed. There's also some vampire roleplay, where our dude bought a manga about big orc titties, and then yeah, she finds the fan service manga he's holding, and then she's like, oh, there's a vampire character here. Why don't we do some vampire roleplay? But then she accidentally falls on him while she's like trying to bite down on his neck, and then she touches his dick. So yeah, escalation's happening all over the place. The next short we have is a guessing game, where they put their finger on the chest and try to get close to the nipple as possible. So the weirdest game ever, okay? I don't know where Nagatoro-san is getting these games, but god damn it. The nipple guessing game, so she kind of fondles this dude's nipples, and she's like, oh, I'm just teasing. And then it's her turn to find her nipple, and then she's like, oh, he's never gonna do it. But then he actually wants to do it. Because then the reward is like a no teasing card. So he's about to do it, and then she gets a phone call. And then we see that, oh, she's actually embarrassed. So yeah, it's obvious Nagatoro is like teasing this dude because she has feelings for him. And I guess she's trying to make him more confident. But then she's actually like pretty shy herself. After that, we see our main guy in a family restaurant. But then Nagatoro comes in with her friend group. It's her, one girl, and these 2 dudes. So I guess the girl's trying to set these 2 dudes up with Nagatoro. And then our dude is in the back spectating. Because he's like, yo, they don't know about Nagatoro. She's going to tease this guy. They're going to cry. But then Nagatoro, out in the wild, interacting with normal people, she behaves normally. She talks, she doesn't tease anyone. She's actually kind of indifferent and kind of like emasculates them. So yeah, one of the dudes, he was like, oh, hey, listen to my mixtape, Nagatoro. And she's like, oh, this sounds kind of boring. It's like you didn't put your heart into it. So yeah, the most important thing is that it shows that Nagatoro is only like this wild, abrasive, teasing personality to our main dude. But with normal people, she's like pretty normal. But yeah, episode 2 kind of crazy with these skits because it's like, damn, so much sexual things are happening. So yeah, hey, this anime is getting pretty risky.